Well, hello there. After posting roughly 120 videos over the past 8 months, I thought it was time to take a little detour here and talk about our YouTube channel experience up to this point. I know a lot of people out there are interested in starting a YouTube channel, giving us some thought, or have a YouTube channel and are struggling with maybe topics, niches, things like that, or just maybe questioning why they're even doing it. Well, we were thinking a little bit too about, well, just why exactly are we still trying to make YouTube videos? Why did we even start this journey? Why did we begin posting? And even though we've been posting for roughly 8 months, we dabbled around with the idea and we dabbled around with equipment, microphones, trying different video editing techniques, different editors, different subjects, and we even did one of the early videos, a pretty rough one, where we learned a lot from it. But again, getting back to this far into the journey, what are we gaining from it? What are we getting out of doing these YouTube videos? And well, thinking about it, I guess we started because we were taking a couple of big trips and we'd been watching videos, travel videos. They seemed to be very popular, and we were watching, well, I was watching some retirement videos because I had just retired, and just seeing what people were saying about retirement, which I found kind of interesting. And we were watching for a long time how-to videos, my wife and I both watching, how to cook something, how to sew something, how to fix something. And well, we just thought, we do a lot of stuff. We're going to travel, we fix things, we do all sorts of stuff. It'd be kind of interesting to share our version of doing all of that. So that would be a subject for another video, to talk about exactly how we do things, what we've learned about editing, what we've learned about setting up staging for videos, and how to make them look better. I'm going to do a video on that and exactly the things we've done to hopefully improve the quality of our videos. But today, my focus is going to be on the motivation to even do it. I'm going to talk about, for us, the 5 major benefits that we've discovered about having a YouTube channel. And this video is not about the content. This video is about the benefits we think we have gained by publishing to YouTube. And hopefully, by sharing those, you may see some reasons for you to be publishing to YouTube and the benefits you might see from it as well. So let's get started and take a look at what we feel are the 5 major benefits we've gotten from publishing videos to YouTube. So let's get started. Look at these folks pictured here in front of the Wisconsin farmhouse that I grew up in. I know their names, dates, and where they're from. Like this guy, my great-grandfather, who lived until my dad was 17. Now, we've actually attended a wedding in the church that he was baptized and confirmed in Germany. We've walked the cobbled streets in the village where he grew up, and his grave is near the other family members in the cemetery of the church that I was raised in. What was he like? I have really no idea. They say he was a great mason and carpenter, and he built a lot of the buildings on the farm, but there were hardly any pictures back then, much less videos with audio to really find out what the guy was like. And then there's this guy, my grandfather. He grew up there too, and he farmed there until my dad took over from him. I never got to meet him, and only know of him what my grandmother and others have told me, which isn't a lot, but they say he was a quiet but very interesting man. But with no audio or video resources available at that time, I'll never have any real idea of what his personality was like or what he is like. Now we all have this wonderful tool of YouTube available to us that allow us to leave a visual legacy to the next generations, telling them who we are, what we're like, and what we know. To my wife and me, that's a very valuable asset to have, to be able to leave that legacy for grandchildren, great-grandchildren around the way, so they'll actually know a little bit about what we were like and who we were. As a side note on the topic of genealogical research, my wife and I are both actively working on that. I've been working on it for quite a long time, and we plan to release a video in the future talking specifically about that journey and how we approach it, including some of the visits we have made and will be making to ancestral sites in both Germany and England, so stay tuned for that. We all start learning from the moment we're born. First we watch things, and then we begin to mimic things that we've seen, and eventually we're actually instructed and coached on how to do things. And before long, we start getting pressed into service, doing things like household chores and other things around the home. And as our journey through life continues, we're taught more complex things in school and on the job. And then eventually these accumulated experiences and skills help us reach our goals and accomplish the things that we need to get done and be successful in life. And some of these things we actually become very good at. Let's take a walk through some of the things that I've experienced in my life and learned to do that I've shared in a handful of videos on here, and give you some idea of what that means. Now, I have what I call the distinct advantage of having grown up on a dairy farm. And if you know anything about farming, you got to be quick on your feet to react to situations. You got a lot of equipment there, you're dealing with livestock. You have to figure out in a hurry lots of times, depending on the weather or what breaks down, how you're going to get it fixed. And as a kid, I got to follow some really talented people around. My dad, we had a hired man there on the farm who did a lot of things, and he taught me all sorts of useful skills like, well, how to harness a team. Now, we didn't use horses for work on the farm, but we had horses for pleasure, and he taught me how to harness them up and drive a wagon with horses. Now, yeah, that's not a really valuable skill for this modern day and age, but it was just the start of things. Taught me how to build gates for the pastures. He just taught me a whole variety of things about carpentry. I watched when we remodeled the barn and the old carpenters work on that, and I learned a lot of things. You just keep watching, you keep learning from these experiences. And then I learned how to play music, first starting in school with formal training in the band, and then I picked up bass and guitar and organ and started learning that from people around me, and I'm still playing it to this day and get a great deal of pleasure out of that. I started hanging around the garage and working with cars, and I learned a lot about working on vehicles, and I've been doing that through my entire life. I find that to be a fun recreation. I learned carpentry from early on and with people like my father-in-law, and helped remodel things and build things, and eventually went on to do a lot of that myself. On top of that, I have my 49 years of experience in the foundry industry, where I started out as a sand shoveler after school in high school and continued on until I eventually retired as part of management, where I had the opportunity to work in maintenance in the early years and learn a lot of valuable skills there on how to fix big equipment. Worked with IT for many, many years and learned a lot about that, and computers and networking. I worked with various aspects of the business, quality management, lean manufacturing, training programs. All of these things just added to my experience and the things that I feel that I have available to share with people. There's just no end of the things that if a person just watches, pays attention, and sees what's going on and jumps in there, you can learn to do. And today I'm trying to translate some of that into videos to help other people do some of those same things. We don't all have the same life experiences or training or skills, and sometimes we end up facing a challenge that we just need some help with. We need something to look at and some instructional material to guide us through taking on the challenge. And here's where this whole section comes in. We, as YouTube creators, can take all of those skills and experiences we have and those things that we do well and be that resource for people when they need to figure out how to get something done. I mean, if you're watching this, you already know that that's a big share of what YouTube is all about. You've probably looked things up that you wanted to get some information on. And so you've got the opportunity to do that yourself and expand that knowledge base available on YouTube. So take advantage of that and capture what you know how to do and get it out there on YouTube. For this third part that I'm going to share, I don't have videos or pictures that can really illustrate what I'm going to talk about, and that's the opportunity to spark your creativity by putting videos out on YouTube. We talked about already leaving your legacy, letting people know who you are, what you did, a little bit about you, and then sharing your knowledge with others, the things that you know how to do. Well, now comes the creativity part. You've got to come up with ways to stage this, to video this, to come up with scripts and things to say that are going to make your message clear and people to understand it and be useful to them. So that takes a great deal of creativity. You have to start thinking about all of those things, where you're going to set the camera, how things are going to be done. And there's a lot that goes into that. And it gets exciting. It gets kind of interesting to do. Take a look at other videos and see how people are doing, how successful channels are doing things, and find out how to communicate better with people. Communication is key in so many aspects of life. It helps you become more creative in just presenting what you're trying to share with others. It's just a wonderful, wonderful experience to start growth in that area. So remember, when you start doing this, it's going to force you to just be more creative if you're going to be successful at it. That brings us to the fourth thing, and that is to simply take on a new challenge. I've heard a lot of people talk about starting a YouTube channel after they retire as something to fill the gap now that they're not working and they've got this extra time, and now they can do what they want to do, and they can take this on, and challenges are what keep us going. Rising to our level of discomfort is one way I like to put it, is take that next step, take that next challenge. Try something new, something you haven't done before. It helps you grow. It helps keep life interesting. So now you've got to come up with topics. You've got to come up with a way to frame these topics. You've got to figure out a whole bunch of things. It's a challenge. This YouTube opportunity it's a challenge to really grow and provide a product that other people are going to enjoy. You will be successful on YouTube if you do things that other people find useful and they enjoy watching. So that's your challenge. That's an opportunity to grow, and it just sparks you and keeps you going. So remember that. Taking this on is just great to help you want to wake up the next day and accomplish something new. And finally, my fifth point, and that's when you do all of this and it starts to come together, and you may be slogging along for a while, and maybe your first videos don't look so great, and you get a few followers, a few subscribers, and you get a handful of likes. Maybe your circle of friends, family start watching it, but pretty soon you start getting better at it, and you start seeing your subscriber count grow, and you start seeing an occasional video have more views than another one. And you'll be going along, and suddenly, pop, there goes a video, takes off. You get 10, 20, 30,000 views, and you wonder, wow, what did I do exactly to get all these views? So you start looking at that, and it drives you on to refine what you're doing and get that next reward, that reward of getting a video out there that people really enjoyed and wanted to watch. So there is that potential of a reward, monetary reward, if you get enough subscribers and you get enough watch hours. And frankly, that's not why I'm doing it. Yeah, that would be great. Who doesn't like extra money coming in? I'm doing this because it's a challenge that I think if I do it right and people like what they see, it's a reward to me just to know that. So remember that fifth point. After you do all this, after you do all that work and you start seeing results, it's a great reward. And that wraps up the 5 points I wanted to cover on this video about why we took on and continue providing content on our YouTube channel. We want to leave a legacy. We want to share our knowledge. We want to spark our creativity. We want to keep taking on new challenges, and eventually we just want to feel the reward of doing it all. So again, as always, I hope that you found this video useful, informative, even a little bit entertaining. And if you did, well, please consider clicking like and subscribing to our channel. It really helps give us direction, and the comments are great. I love getting comments, positive or sometimes just suggesting things that we could do a little bit differently to improve what we're doing. It just helps us grow. So again, thank you for watching, and I hope this has inspired you to take on or continue your YouTube channel challenge. And until next time, take care.